Let's explore my biggest gripes with the Tab Ultra C. Kicking off with the most annoying of the user experience issues is palm rejection. It's not that great on the Tab Ultra C. In fact, it's so unpredictable that I found myself having to turn off touch controls when using the Notes app. If I don't, my palm touching the screen ends up causing all sorts of chaos, like unintentional zooms or panning of the canvas. And even with touch controls off, this poor palm rejection still causes issues in most menus or modals. Trying to change brushes, select colors, or dealing with pop-ups becomes a chore. With your palm resting on the screen, the device thinks you're tapping outside the modal. The result, it closes before you get to use it. To combat it, you must lift your hand off the screen in order to interact with menus or modals. Constantly having to lift your hand off the screen might sound trivial, but trust me, it's a peeve that builds up. Then there's the first stroke bug. I mentioned it in my full review, but even after nearly 2 months of owning the device, the beast is still here consuming my first strokes. After any non-drawing action, say changing your brush or swapping tools, the first pen stroke you make on the screen will not appear, and the software will attempt to redraw it after taking another action or a refresh is initiated. This leads to a very messy experience, especially when you're dealing with changing brushes and colors often. Onyx does have a beta firmware that supposedly addresses this issue, but beta firmware doesn't come with a guarantee or an easy way to roll back, so I recommend users wait for a stable release. Touch responsiveness also leaves a lot to be desired. There have been multiple instances per use of the device where the screen just doesn't acknowledge my touch. Another big issue are the magnets on the keyboard case. They wreak havoc with the pen's behavior on the screen, and the ink goes off course wherever the magnets are located. If you're looking for a smooth writing session, you'll have to ditch the case or swap to the standard magnetic one. But you'd have to swap even if this issue didn't exist, because the keyboard case is extremely uncomfortable to hold. Fold it up and you end up pressing the rubber keys on the back, and it's hard to get a comfortable grip. Try avoiding that and you're left with a keyboard flap that is flying in the wind. Considering the keyboard's $110 price point, it's hard to accept both these flaws. Now, on the topic of cost, the Tab Ultra C comes with a significant one. I purchased mine for $665.99, which was bundled with the keyboard cover case at a discount, and I also applied a $5 coupon, which came out to a total of $700 and change after tax. The Tab Ultra C itself is $599.99 USD. Assessing the internal hardware and the native software, it's hard to justify that price, especially when you can obtain a Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus, which provides 50% plus performance across the board and comes with a vibrant OLED 120Hz refresh rate display for a full $100 less. It seems the real cost driver here is the e-ink screen and Onyx's integration of it. This positioning aims the product at a specific niche of individuals, those desperate for a break from traditional screens and in search of eye relief, or on the other hand, supporters and early adopters of e-ink technology. There are also quite a few letdowns with the screen. Thanks in part to the Kaleido 3 LCD layer, the device's screen is more of a muted gray than paper white, even when you max out the front light. While you may get a semblance of paper white and lack of reflection outdoors on the perfect sunny day, I'll be honest, I don't leave my house. It's difficult to replicate perfect, global, natural lighting, and to get close you have to sit next to a window. But even with that natural directional light or with artificial lighting, there's a glare on the screen that forces you to position yourself to avoid reflections. The screen has an inherent graininess that is noticeable even at an arm's length. The best comparison I can make is the effect you get peering through a mesh window screen, though that's a bit exaggerated. I will add that as you fill the screen with content, the less noticeable the graininess becomes. Additionally, I'm concerned with the durability of the screen. When applying pressure, which is required when using the pen's eraser, there's an obvious flex on the screens, making it feel like the top layer is compressing into the lower one. It's unnerving and feels like you could easily press hard enough to crack it. I'd be hesitant to toss the device into a backpack with bulkier items like school books, laptops, or heavy gear, as there's a sense that the flexing or bending of the screen could lead to damage. While that all might sound speculative, my online digging has surfaced several reports of this exact scenario. Neither the keyboard case nor the default magnetic case feel as if they would provide adequate protection against flexing. The Tab Ultra C has a noticeable lag when using third-party apps. Virtually any application outside of the native Boox offerings grapples with considerable input delay. Handwriting or drawing apps in particular are problematic. The latency is too pronounced to make them practical for any meaningful use, while Onyx has added some software optimization settings to make apps like OneNote or Evernote a little more tolerable. Another series of shortfalls of the Tab Ultra C lay in its restrictive customization options, or lack thereof. Despite boasting support for 496 colors, users are confined to a palette of writing in just 16. And honestly, this count feels inflated. 5 are essentially grayscale, and the remaining selections offer near duplicate, slight shade variations of primary colors. A comprehensive color picker, or at minimum a hex input field for custom color blobs, would have made a world of difference. Another oversight is the absence of a true highlighter brush. I've noticed that many users, myself included, made the assumption that the provided marker serves this purpose, but its output is literal and resembles a Sharpie, obscuring underlying text rather than emphasizing it. Interestingly, the marker's initial draw displays a semi-transparent zebra-striped pattern, which seems to be an unintended glitch but would work perfectly as a highlighter brush. A glaring omission is the lack of USB-C alt display mode or HDMI support. Considering the Tab Ultra C's promise and price point, this feels like a missed opportunity. And these are just the tip of the iceberg of missed opportunities. The Tab Ultra C raises significant security concerns. I won't go into my full tirade again here, as I ranted in depth about the security issues in my full review video, but the device's vulnerabilities make it ill-suited for storing or accessing sensitive information. For starters, the Boox Tab app creates an unguarded network connection, exposing your files for retrieval or unwanted incoming transfers. I strongly urge users to use the Terminate Connection button in the top right. However, be vigilant. Reopening the app reestablishes this insecure connection, and you must terminate the connection again. There's a security flaw that will display the content that was previously on your screen when the device is locked. It's an issue that Onyx has been presented with multiple times over months now and still hasn't addressed. On top of this, the device is lagging in Android security updates, over 32 months worth. While Onyx has teased an updated beta firmware that patches the security through June 2023, it coincides with the sunsetting of Android 11 security updates. The Tab Ultra C undoubtedly has its quirks and shortcomings, but not everything is a dark cloud over this device. Despite these issues, the Tab Ultra C has seamlessly integrated itself into my daily workflow. If you're curious as to what makes the Tab Ultra C shine, check out my video highlighting the 6 best features here.